95 minutes of trying to convince me that the Kung Fu prodigy child, who was literally trained by Jackie Chan, is the underdog in a fight. Right.
You'll be ready.
Bear in mind that I just absolutely cannonballed my way through this franchise in the last week, because I'd only ever seen the original Karate Kid, so I thought, well, I should get through the films. I could maybe even make a start on Cobra Kai. It might be fun. I already watched all the films, finished the first season of Cobra Kai in the last week, so I felt pretty prepared, actually, for the emotional gut punches that this film was going to be capable of delivering, and then it just didn't. Karatekidlegends stars Ben Wong as Li Fong, a Chinese kung fu prodigy who moves with his mother to New York City. By the way, they're trying to convince us that he's the underdog in this situation when his mother is literally Mulan. Anyway, he gets to New York, and literally the first person he meets there is a girl who's into him, helps him get a job at a pizzeria, and also her dad wants Lee to train him in kung fu so that he can get back into boxing. And if that seems like the wrong way to go about training for a boxing match, don't worry, he loses. Okay, Jackie Chan's character, Mr. Han, from the remake, which wasn't a remake as it turns out, is also in this, and he's the uncle of Lee, and he comes across to America for a quick trip to convince him to fight in a karate tournament that takes place on top of a skyscraper. What the fuck? Also, besides that whole thing, and that was a whole thing, the tournament itself, believe me, Mr. Han, who's meant to be very similar, and was very similar to Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid remake, I saw it was long, was very much a only fight if you have to kind of guy, and now he's just like, hey, you know what? Tournament, do it. What? Okay, so in 95 minutes, they're going to try to squeeze in introducing Lee, introducing Jackie Chan's Kung Fu School, have him move to America, have him make friends and the pizzeria and the girl and get into a relationship-ish and that whole situationship, and get the dad relationship with him and try to train him and in Kung Fu for a large portion of the film, and then they're going to have him make enemies and have him make friend, just the one friend, and then they're going to have him get into this karate competition, and then, only then, after Jackie Chan comes across to America, after all this stuff goes wrong, is he going to actually go find Ralph Macchio and bring Daniel LaRusso in. After an hour, with 35 minutes left in the film, they actually bring him in. They dared to have him featured heavily on the poster. He maybe has a max of like 10 minutes screen time. So yeah, he just wasn't in it enough, and more than that, I felt like I really enjoyed the bickering between Mr. Han and Daniel LaRusso about, oh no, this kung fu technique's better, no, this karate technique's better. Like, that stuff was actually really fun. Them just basically co-parenting this kid, loved it. And yet we just don't hardly get any of it. That was the best thing about the film. Without a doubt, the single best thing. And every scene felt so rushed and stuck in between rounds of the tournament. Hey, by the way, why is the biggest karate tournament in the city 16 participants? That's it. And it's spread out over the course of like several weeks. What was any of that? It was so annoying. And he doesn't start learning karate for the first hour of the film. So then it really did feel rushed. And there's no reason for it to be rushed. If that was just the halfway point in the film, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. If it had been, the length of every other Karate Kid film, all of them, even the one with Hilary Swank, was longer than this. I don't know why it's so short. I don't often say this should have been longer, but this should have been half an hour longer. If they had a full hour of Daniel LaRusso and Jackie Chan teaching him and building up to the tournament, brilliant. It was so brutally rushed, though. It was such a mess. Also, I find it very funny that his trauma is about a dead brother. They never even mention the fact that I suppose his dad is dead or out of the picture. He should have daddy issues, no? Not brother issues? Especially since in this film alone, even though it is breathtakingly quick runtime, he has 3 father figures turn up for him. And my problem is that they really do make this more of a sequel to the Jackie Chan film, which I don't want. I didn't feel nostalgic for that. I didn't really like it that much. Didn't need that. The one scene where it felt like a kind of weirdly like classic Jackie Chan action sequence, that was quite fun to see. Glad they did that. But it felt like such a mess. A tonal disaster. And I didn't hate it, but it should have been really good. And it ends up feeling like just, I don't know, like they wanted to make something very inoffensive, and in trying to do that so hard, they've just made this pointless thing that's kind of fun. It is, but it's weird and silly. Yeah. I'm so thrown off by so much of what this chose to do. Especially just him teaching the old guy kung fu in the middle of the film. Like, for a long time, that was a lot of the focus in a very short runtime. I wouldn't have had a problem with that again if this film was like 2 hours plus. But 95 minutes, you couldn't mess around, and they messed around. So I'm giving the worst job convincing us of an underdog story since Rocky 2 3 stars. Just robbed us blind of having an extra like half hour of Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio arguing and co-parenting that child. That would have been just amazing. It was really fun when it happened, but I felt robbed blind, and this ended up feeling a little bit too much like a Disney Channel original movie for me. Yeah,